everybody. Welcome to another episode of our podcast. And I am super excited to be introducing a very inspiring, pragmatic, charismatic personality. Someone that I have had the honor of witnessing the journey of. And I so admire so many things about him. He's been someone that I truly look up to, and I've in fact, while we're not we don't talk as much, but whenever I get stuck, there's something I really want to discuss, I drop him a voice note, and he's always there to answer. Introducing the Satyen Babla.
Thank you. That was amazing.
Oh, most welcome. So Satyen. Who is Satyen? A lot of people would not even be wanting an introduction, but I'll still give it to you. Satyen is right now at present the executive director of BNI New Dubai, he's also the founder of a company called Dance, and they do a lot of dance stuff, and we're going to be getting into that as well. And there's something else he's into, that Zopronos, that's another company of his, where he helps with Zoho implementation and stuff. So we're going to get straight into the point. Satyen, how are you doing today?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
I am doing good. God's been kind. Thank you. So I don't want to waste time. This show is not about me. It's about you. So you are, in my opinion, too busy. Okay? 3 businesses that you're like head over heels into. How do you manage your time? And how does it feel?
Okay. First of all, thank you for having me here. It feels amazing to do things that you really love and are passionate about. Everybody knows I love dancing. So if you've been to a BNI meeting where I'm there is some kind of movement and dance involved. There's music involved. So I feel blessed to do something that I love on a daily basis. I'm also extremely passionate about Zoho and automation and helping business leaders make their life easier through automation. So that's great fun as well. And I think the larger benefit with Zopronos is seeing your clients succeed and seeing them change the way they operate their business and how much more relaxed they are after they have a system that works for them. So I think that's the bigger benefit. That's what I love over there. And BNI, of course, is in my blood right now. And I don't know what to say about BNI. It's been the reason I feel I have achieved what I have achieved in life. And I feel grateful to be a part of BNI as well. So I feel brilliant and I feel lucky and blessed to work in businesses that I love.
Okay. I'm going to be busting some myths here. So we'll start off with one thing. I have come to know, and I don't know how true is that, you've got to tell me, that you belong to a very affluent family, apparently, and you've had your ties with UAE, your family ties, for a very long time. And your grandfather as well used to be working here. So what's it like? Tell us.
Okay.
Tell me how right or wrong am I?
That's right. That's absolutely right. From my mom's side, I'm the 4th generation over here.
Wow.
So my great-granddad moved here on mom's side.
Right.
And with my dad's side, I'm the 3rd generation. So my granddad moved over here. But having said that, my granddad had some 6 kids and my dad was the youngest of them. And then I'm the youngest kid of my dad. So the gap between me and my granddad was huge when he was alive. At a point in time, my granddad, Narayan Das, was the oldest living expat in the UAE.
Wow.
So if you go to Google and look up Narayan Das, expat, oldest living Indian, and you'll find his article right there in the papers. So we've been here for a very long time.
Nice.
Like dad says, this is my Karma Bhumi and India is my Janma Bhumi. So dad is also very passionate about UAE. I'm very passionate about UAE and Dubai. Whatever we've gotten it from this land and we feel very grateful to be here. So yes, we've been here for a very long time, absolutely.
Sure. And what was your dad into, and is that any way in related to what you're doing today?
Absolutely not. So we've had this family tradition of not doing what your parents are doing. My granddad was into trading, from pearl diving to electrical cables to food. Dad did his own thing. He was into printing for a while. He was into a BTL agency for a while.
Nice.
Stuff like that. And then I did my own thing where I have dance and now Zopronos and BNI. So we've gotten this thing where everybody sets their own legacy in place.
Yeah.
And basically it's all based on passion. Dad loves printing presses and stuff like that. That's what he wanted to do. I love dancing. That's what I wanted to do. So we've been very fortunate where our family has given us the base to do what we want to do.
How difficult is it to start all over again? Because, see, your dad has done something, he's invested so much time and he's built it to a certain level. The easiest thing would be to actually get in there and taking to another level and then starting something again from scratch.
Yeah, it's not easy for sure, especially when you have an option. I did work with dad for 2 years. This was back in 2010, 11, 12. But while I was working with dad, also I was taking up freelancing, dancing jobs where somebody came and said, I have a friend's wedding. Can you help us choreograph a couple of songs? Somebody came and said, my sister has participated in a school competition. Can you help us choreograph over there? And thankfully, my parents didn't look down upon it, right? They encouraged me and said, if it makes you
Sure.
happy, go ahead and do it.
Sure.
So I did work with dad for a couple of years. Working in a family business has their own set of challenges. So
Absolutely.
it's not.
I understand. It's not hunky dory.
Oh, absolutely
Yes,
not.
yes, yes.
Especially when the business is more than a couple of decades old and
Sure.
your family's been around for a while. They have a way that they operate.
Yeah,
right?
they have a mindset. They know what's
Absolutely.
working, what's not working. So it's difficult to innovate.
Absolutely.
in the
So
right areas.
thankfully, my parents were okay with me experimenting, and
Right.
it's been difficult. It's been hard. Also because I got into an industry which is very different. Forget my dad. Nobody in my community also even imagined that dancing could be a lucrative career, right? So very minimal guidance, very minimal mentors at that point
Sure,
in time.
sure.
So it was difficult, but it's been a great journey. BNI covered up for that gap.
Indeed. So were you born and raised in Dubai or? Okay, so you're a Dubai kid.
I'm a Dubai kid, regular Dubai kid story, born
Yeah.
over here.
Which school did you go to?
IHS, went to Indian
Okay.
high school. You finish your schooling, and then you go back to India for college. We were in Bombay, did my college, came back, and the very typical regular Indian kid story.
When did dance happen to you?
Dance started in 2013 February.
Okay.
When I came back in 2006 from after doing my graduate, my BBA, I worked in Belhassa group of companies, Saif Belhassa group of companies,
yes,
for
indeed.
about 5 years.
Nice.
And while I was working there, one day my sister and I went to this place called Lamsi.
Huh?
Right, it was a very popular mall back then.
Ah, Lamsi Plaza, Oud mein tha.
Yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
of course.
We went to Lamsi, and my sister and I were walking to the supermarket.
Sure.
And we saw a board that said Shamak dance classes now in Dubai. And she was like, "You want to join? Yeah, let's join. Went and had a conversation, and we just signed up. And I'd never danced before that as such.
Okay, so you didn't. I thought you would be loving to dance in your school times, something. Oh,
No,
okay.
it was a
okay.
new passion that I discovered entirely much
That
later
day.
in life.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Right, so never danced in school, never danced in college.
College, okay.
And I was working. Right? So at that
Right.
time, we did these classes and we fell in love with it. They were phenomenal.
Sure.
One batch and the second batch and the third batch. And then they were looking for like an intern, an assistant who could help them. And they had very clear understanding of what they wanted. They wanted a guy who has a license so we can move around the space, who knows people in Dubai. Basic stuff, right? Who's passionate, who's trustworthy, stuff like that. So thankfully, I fell in that category. And then I was with them for 3 years with Shamak.
Okay.
And then finally, I took a break and I said, no, let's leave Belhassa, let's leave Shamak. I'll join Dad's business. And that's how I got into Dad's business. But then in a couple of months, dancing came back and a couple of people come and said, yaar, ye kar do, wo kar do, do help us over. Then that went on for about 2 years while I was freelancing. And then we did a massive project for the temple. So we are Tatai Bhatiyas, and a lot of people
Yes, I know.
belong to the community and the temple and
Yes.
stuff. And they called me one day and said, so then we're doing this whole annual Diwali get together to do every
Right.
year. And we're looking at just 20 professional dancers, do a beautiful Ras Leela. Can you help us with this? And I told them, I said, guys, I work with my dad. I'm a freelancer. I don't have a team. But what I can do is I can train the community people in terms of kids and family members to put up a show. And it'll be phenomenal because the whole experience of seeing your own family members on stage,
It's very different.
100%, right?
Yeah.
So they
and
understood.
that for a religious thing, it's the whole emotion is quite different. You can't put
Yeah.
that down into words. Yes.
Yeah, so they understood the idea. They got me in, so I'm very grateful to the temple as well.
Sure.
And we had 45 days of non-stop training where there were about 75 plus participants.
Wow, okay.
From the age of 4 or 5 till like, I think 50, 60. It was huge. And it became such a community thing where everybody would look forward to coming there. And you had all these lovely people bringing food and sweets. And it was like a mini Diwali open house every day.
Yes.
And that went on for 45 days, and the show happened, and the show went really well. And about 2,000 people from our community attend the show regularly. and got a lot of praise, a lot of appreciation, did well, and I was very happy with that. That project got done. In my head, it was done, right? The next day, 11 moms called me in total and said, we had a great time and, we want to continue this. We want to send our kids. Where do you teach? And I was like,
Right.
no, I used to teach earlier at Shamak. Now I'm freelancing. They're like, no, you know what? We want to continue with you. We had a great time. I said, guys, I work with my dad. I don't do this full time. Why don't you send them to some other classes here and there? Give them a few
Correct.
options.
Correct.
They came back in a week and said, no, we're not happy. We want you to start. Why don't you start? And they kind of forced
Encouraged
me.
you. Yeah.
I would say forced at that
Forced,
time
okay.
to start these freelance classes. So we went around Dubai looking for studios. Yeah, give it us for rent for 1 hour. Ek ghante ke liye de do.
Try kar
Let's
lete hain,
negotiate. Let's this, let's that. We basically did this whole thing where we signed up a contract and said, yeah, we're doing 12 classes. 1 hour each. You want to studio for 12 hours on these dates. Total, can you help us out? Give us a good rate. And there was a beautiful lady in Dubai who still runs her classes over there. Her name's Nisha, and she helped us and said, you know what, we'll give you a good rate. It's in Dubai itself. And we started off from there.
Okay.
And on the first day, you do the regular stuff. You go to PowerPoint. This was about 15 years ago. You make a flyer. You put it out there. There was no WhatsApp. I think BBM was very popular back
Yes,
then. You do like
yes,
a broadcast.
BlackBerry, yes.
Put it out to people. You put it up on Facebook, and you're just calling and sending stuff to everybody.
Correct.
And on day one, we had this trial class, right?
And what year was this?
2012
Okay.
2012 November.
Okay.
And dance started in December and February.
Right.
Dance started about 3 months after that, right, officially.
Okay.
So we did that and we said, guys, sign up for a free class. And we had some 45 people show up for a free class, which I really wasn't expecting. I think we underestimated the fact that we've lived in Dubai all these years, school here, and family's been around for so long. Plus, we were dancing with Chamak for 3 years and freelancing for 2 years. And yeah, we underestimated that fact, right? We had 45 people show up for the trial class, and the class got over, and they all left the studio. And I was sitting in the studio. I didn't walk out because I really didn't know what to expect. We had a couple of
Correct.
friends helping us.
Correct.
And we are sitting there, and it's been like half an hour, and I'm sitting there. And then finally, they open the door and they come in and say, guys, 39 of them paid up and signed up.
Oh, wow.
And-
That's a massive closing rate.
Absolutely, and we weren't expecting that, and I still get goosebumps when I think about it. So that batch got done. It was about 6 weeks or so, and we had a lovely time, and we made some money also, surprisingly, because in my head I was like, I'm ready to lose money over here. I've spent money on printing and I spent money on the studio rent, and I'm okay with that. But we made some good money, and that batch got over, and the same cycle came in where these parents came back, now not 11, many more. And they were like, when's the next batch? We're having a lovely time. And that's when the idea hit and said, if I'm going to do this regularly, why don't I just open up my own studio?
Sure. Yeah.
And that's exactly how dance started.
Okay.
So it was all by luck, by chance, by the love of the community.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
See, indeed, we know you started dance and you do a lot of different dance classes. And in fact, one of my initial interactions with you way back, I think in 2019, was, and there's something I admire about very, very few entrepreneurs. I was like, listen, Satyen, I want to just do a very basic ladies' day out. I want to do like this dance program. And then you're like, listen, this is what I do per hour, but for BNI, I have no budget. You tell me what is the price that you're looking at, and let's do it. Now, this is where I'm quite intrigued. Why don't you put a price? Why didn't you put a price up then, and why did you do it at a subsidized rate? You're like, listen, just give me your price. What was the reason for that? A, and then do you do this regularly? And number 3, how do you then ensure that people are not taking advantage of your leniency?
Awesome. I don't remember this conversation, so thank you for reminding me.
I remember a lot more.
Okay. BNI has given me so much
Yes.
that whatever I do is not going to be enough, right? To put things in context, I started off, when I joined BNI, I was living in a bed space. So I'd moved out of my parents' place in 2015. I moved out as well after 2 years of dance started to like set my own journey, right? And I was living in a sharing apartment in Dubai.
Okay.
And over the years with dance and with BNI, I've moved from that to took a 1 BHK on rent and gave one room on rent and living alone in another room to a 2 BHK to a 3 BHK and now to a villa and to a high-rise building. And that journey that has happened, a lot of credit goes to BNI.
Right.
Right? And people tell me that, no, you also worked really hard. And I agree. And I feel everyone works hard.
Indeed.
Everyone works hard.
Indeed.
But the kind of guidance and the mentoring we got from BNI was something that
was
had
life-changing, yes.
had no price value to
Sure.
it, right?
Sure.
So whenever I could give back to the BNI community especially, it wasn't about price to begin with, because I knew what I was getting in return. How do you make sure people don't take advantage of your leniency? I don't think people in BNI want to take advantage of anybody. It's a givers gain community. They are there to give. And I feel the fact that you tell someone, hey, I am happy to do it at whatever price you want, makes them want to support you and help you all the more.
Further, yes.
All the more at that point in time.
Yes.
So I think that was my philosophy always with BNI and the BNI community in terms of whatever you need. Right? And we, by that time, we were already in a position where we were making good profits externally. So BNI was this whole community thing, and there's so many learnings from BNI that have really changed the way I operate and just changed my life entirely. So with BNI, it's a different story altogether.
So when did BNI happen to you? What year?
BNI happened to me in 2015.
Okay.
My second year of business. My biggest mistake in my life was not joining BNI earlier.
Yes.
Like any entrepreneur, we got multiple invites, but
Sure.
never realized the
Sidelined
potential.
it.
Oh God, 6 in the morning. And we used to have so many students from that Dubai business community used to come in for classes. Oh, you have to come at 6:30 in the morning. And I was like, guys, we close late and then we have shows every day.
Correct.
And this thing's not going to work out for me. So my big regret joining in my second year of business. I feel I was late.
Okay.
But since 2015, when I joined and the changes that have happened in our business, I can share a brilliant story. So first of all, BNI taught me to think bigger, dream bigger.
Totally.
Because initially it was like, guys, we do classes and we have so many students and we'd love to get more students. And they're like, no, why don't you think about corporates and think about larger shows and ask for it and you'll get it. Right? So that whole vision of thinking bigger and not thinking only B2C was one aspect of it. Then I remember we used to do a lot of big shows back then, right? A lot of big shows. So we've danced with Amitabh, with Shah Rukh, with Hrithik, and we did Filmfare Awards, Masala Awards, we did the FIFA, we did the IFA celebrations over here. So many things, right? I had a mentor called Chirantan Joshi.
Yes.
Everybody knows Joshi,
course,
at least in the BNI world.
Yes.
And I was so happy, and I went and I told him that, we've done this. He came for a one-to-one to the studio. And I was like, we've done this. And his response was, great, thank you for sharing. What are you doing now? And unfortunately, there were summers. And I said, nothing. And he's like, whatever has happened is in the past. Tell me what you're doing now.
Correct.
And I didn't have an answer.
Correct.
Right? And I felt like he doesn't understand the events industry. He doesn't know कि समर में कुछ नहीं होता है. But again, that got me thinking in terms of what can I do today?
What else? Yes.
Yeah, what else can I do today,
Yes.
right? And then through that, we went to corporates and we went to schools and summer camps and many things happened from that. The second thing that happened with Joshi was, Joshi has this knack of making you unhappy on your happiest days.
I've heard that from many people.
So I went, I announced that, we've signed up with IFA. There's the IFA celebrations happening in Dubai and we're performing.
Yes.
And he's like, great, congratulations. And so, are you also dancing? And I was like, of course I'm dancing. What kind of a question is that? He's like, you shouldn't be dancing. And I was like, does he know what he's talking about? Like, I run a dance studio. If I don't dance, who will dance?
Who will
right?
dance, yes.
And he's like, no, you either run the business as a CEO,
right,
sit in the audience, network with the people around your table, and get more potential opportunities, right? And don't dance. Or you become the dancer and you dance. You make somebody else a CEO so they can sit on that table and
they
network.
can do that.
Yeah, and I was like, no, how can I not dance? And like, come on, and now, like, that doesn't make sense.
Sure.
And he told me, he said, you're the bottleneck in your business. And I was like, he doesn't know anything about my business.
Correct.
Right? That was the standard.
Correct. Standard response every entrepreneur gives. Isko nahi pata yaar mera काम क्या चल रहा है.
Exactly. But anyway, I danced for that show and things went really well. I was very happy. And again, a couple of times he mentioned that, you need to encourage your team to take on these roles and you need to move and stop dancing. And And finally, one day I decided that, okay, this is it. I'm going to stop dancing now. And I'm going to I announced to the team and everything. And as you know how the universe tests your decisions, I did that. And the very next day, I got a call from City 1016. We had an ongoing contract with them.
Sure.
Right? They've been very supportive in our journey. And they say, guys, we have a show tomorrow. We have a celebrity coming in and we need you guys here. And I say, you know what? Super excited. Who's coming? And they say, Ritik is coming. And I'm like, damn. I've just said I'm not going to dance. And I was like, great, thank you very much. You know, my team's going to be there.
Yes.
And they're like, no, what about you? I said, no, I don't dance anymore.
Yes.
And they're like, what rubbish? Like, the whole reason why we're giving this to you is because we want you to be here and we know you and we trust you and we like you. And I was like, guys, it is what it is.
Sure.
I don't dance anymore. The team is brilliant. They'll do a fabulous job. I can assure you that. And they're like, no, we can't risk this. It's too big of an event for us. I was like, guys, it is what it is. You let me know, right? And I hung up the phone. And in my head, I was like, Joshi, like...
You mess things up.
What's he doing?
Why
what's
are you doing
this?
Anyway. You got to repay.
Anyway. They called back in a bit and said, you know what, we'll go ahead with your dancers.
Right.
But we're going to hire another studio as well.
Sure.
And I was really taken aback because we had a 5-year contract with them and multiple things were going on, And I was like, that's never happened before. And okay, nonetheless, fine. They got another studio. They got our guys. We went, they did the whole show. I was free like that day. I wasn't doing anything. Right? So I could have easily been there. Sure. But I chose not to go because if I go there and don't dance and there's more drama and stuff like that. So I was sitting in the studio, biting my nails. They were there in the studio performing. This was at their radio studio, right? And I got a call the next day and they're like, we were very happy with you guys and you know what, we're going to continue with you, then it's fine, stuff like that. And things fell in place. Right. And that day I realized that, hey, I have come to a point where even if I don't necessarily work, my business is working for me. Yeah.
Yes.
So that was a great learning where you don't have to do everything yourself, right? Your business should run by itself without you. And if you are involved, you're the bottleneck yourself.
Indeed.
And that's just been life-changing in the way I think and operate my businesses. And I set up policies and structures and KPIs and multiple other things. So yeah, thank you, Joshi.
So I want to deep dive into one of the aspects. So dance started off.
Yep.
And there are multiple dance institutes in Dubai. How is it that you managed to climb the ladder and it didn't take you a lot longer? Like, for instance, I know of companies that are there for 15 years, 20 years, etc. But then you really climbed up into like getting into IFAs and film fairs, etc.
Right.
What happened? What did you do to get there? To get these big contracts up your sleeves?
Interesting. I wish I knew the answer to that. I know things that have contributed to that.
Okay.
We were blessed to have a brilliant team, right? A brilliant team of dancers. And what's going to surprise you is the fact that none of our dancers actually were full-time employees with us.
Okay.
Right? So they were basically kids from Dubai who were super passionate about dancing, who had been our students either when I was teaching in Shamak or when I was freelancing and over the years, and who were doing it purely for passion, right?
Sure.
So our team was phenomenal. And not disregarding other teams as well.
Indeed.
We just felt like we had the right kind of team members with the right kind of attitude. And more importantly, all of our team members were Dubai kids who were not doing it for the money and they were doing it purely for the passion, right? So they aligned with my philosophy of being passionate about what you do. That was one. I think BNI played a massive role as well in terms of just understanding and thinking big and achieving for those bigger shows and bigger events, right? Not limiting yourself down. So we were partners with Jhalak for about 5 years.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, Jhalak Dikhlaja when that used to happen over here back then. Yeah. We were connected with DID for a couple of years and multiple other things as well, right? So the team was phenomenal. BNI's understanding and structure was phenomenal. And also I feel that the fact that I love learning really helped us understand how you can run a business better, right? So I think there's that want and need to innovate constantly, and the support from the team and the support from BNI is what took us to different events and projects and stuff where we kept brainstorming and seeing what can we do next, how can we do next, and what can we do bigger and stuff like that.
So see, Satyen, for me, as much as I have observed you, and I don't know you really up close, But as much as I've observed you, I think one of the things that really work well with you is you're very good at implementing changes fast. You don't
Yeah.
take time. You don't sit and think कि नहीं ये suggestion ठीक नहीं है. Let me just wait. Time लेंगे. थोड़ा सा 3-4 महीने रुक जाते हैं or something. If you like something, you're like okay, quick, let's do it. If you don't like something, you're like very clear. You know, so I think there's a lot of clarity that you have in terms of what your vision is. Let's come to a very disturbing phase of all our lives. That's COVID. And indeed, dance studio and in COVID. What was the situation like then?
It was bad. I mean, 14th March 2020 was when we started getting calls, and they canceled all our shows and events, and we had a very strong pipeline. It was painful. It was painful. Pre-COVID, we had 5 studios. This was total about 18,000 square feet of space, and we were sharing
And
a lot of
all
space.
rented.
Yeah. And we were sharing a lot of space with Reem as well at that time.
Yes.
So we had 5 studio spaces, huge. And throughout COVID, we kept closing one studio after the other, but we still maintained 2 of them
Sure.
till COVID got over. And we took a big hit in terms of our revenues and savings
Yes.
and everything.
Yes.
But what we realized was we have to get into a business that runs irrespective of season, time,
Correct.
health,
Correct.
energy. It has to run, right?
Correct.
And that's where the team got together, which is the dance team, and said, okay, what else can we do? What else do we know? And again, someone in BNI said, because by that time, we had already implemented Zoho's CRM in dance.
Sure.
So and I loved Zoho CRM, so I kept promoting it everywhere. And somebody BNI said, hey, you keep talking about Zoho, why don't you just open a Zoho company, right? You keep promoting it any which way. And when I say promoted, means I had called BNI members to the studio to show them how I use a CRM.
Works.
You
Yes.
should take a CRM
Yes.
and just stuff
I do
like
this
that.
too. I do this too with Zoho. It's like I've been in love with Zoho. I was in this implementation, and I've called so many people and said, don't just do anything. Spend those 100 dirhams a month and get done with it.
Absolutely.
But yes,
Absolutely.
what next?
So somebody said, let's try this. And we said, okay, let's make this happen. We reached out to Zoho, and clearly they weren't entertaining us because no
Sure.
IT background and stuff like that.
Right.
And again, BNI happened. A gentleman called Pradeep from Watermelon.
Watermelon, yes.
He said, hey, I know Zoho. Let me put you in touch and we'll guide you through the process. He called somebody senior up there because Pradeep called them. They entertained me. They came down to the studio, had a couple of conversations. They saw our space. They were like, hey, great, we can conduct trainings over here, because they were very new at that time over here and they didn't have their own space. I was like, sure, use my space. Let's do trainings. Then I was like, do you have a Zoho jingle? We can help you create one. Hey, let's do a Zoho flash mob. Right. And then they met Reem, because we were sharing space with Reem, and they were looking at videos. And it just felt like, okay, if you're going to do jingles and flash mobs and space and XYZ, why don't we just partner together and actually start
Work things
developing?
out,
And you
yes.
guide us and you educate us and you train us. And that's how Zoho happened. So in COVID, we got dance back by doing online classes, though we weren't making 1/10 of what we should have been.
Correct.
We weren't even covering cost, but at least we were sustaining. And then Zoho came along again, thanks to BNI.
Right.
And Zoho shot up very quickly. We started Zoho 4 years ago with 2 people. Now we have 15 full-time members in Zoho.
Wow.
And it's growing really fast. So that happened. And again, post-COVID, we kind of had a coach, again in BNI, Ibrahim. Had a conversation with him. And in one conversation, he flipped my whole thinking about dance. And he finally convinced me that I should not be going down the group classes or the personal training or the school's route. And I should go towards more the corporate and the activations and the shows and the wedding route. And it was one conversation. And I'd been thinking about it for like 5 years before that. But just one conversation with him. And that's where dance also pivoted. And we went more into doing marketing activations. Since then, we worked with the Indian Consulate for Independence Day shows that happened. In fact, last year we did, was the 75th Independence Day. And we did flash mobs in 5 different malls over here with 75 dancers each. That got so viral that the CGI over here used our pictures on his page, on Twitter page. And Narendra Modi himself used our pictures on his page.
Oh, wow.
So if you go to Dance's Instagram account, the
Right.
very first post is pinned where Narendra Modi has
Arre
our
wow,
pictures,
that's
right?
amazing.
That happened. We reached out to Fitbit, and they were looking at launching their watch, the new watch over here. And again, the whole concept was, can you give us professional dancers? I was like, you know what? I have another idea. You opened listening. Why don't we just do a fitness flash mob? We'll get 150 different people
Sure.
from different areas of life. Somebody's into CrossFit, somebody's into Zumba, somebody's into boxing, somebody's into sports, different age groups, different nationalities. And that's what we want to promote. And let's do like a unique fitness flash mob. We had a relationship with many malls. We reached out and DCC approved it. And the whole thing happened start to end, from their music to copyrights to approvals to permissions. And we did that for them. Then we went to Lacton and Oasis, and they were doing a back to school campaign. And they were like, we'll go back to schools and we'll give them free samples. We'll talk about how healthy our products are. And then can you guys put up a show? I was like, it's not going to work that way, Let's brainstorm, let's get together. And then the agency recommended that on the Lacnor milk packs, they have this cow and this bear.
Yes,
and we were like,
yes,
let's make
yes.
those mascots and let's do a whole performance with them.
With them.
Because that has a much higher
Wow.
recall value, right?
Undoubtedly.
So a lot of
Such
different
things,
things.
yeah.
A lot of different things with dance, and no more into those classes and individual
So you're not doing
trainings.
that anymore?
No, absolutely not.
Oh, nice.
And what we realized that what we make it probably in a show over here is what we would make in a quarter
Indeed.
with the studio and stuff like that.
Indeed.
So now dance is more into an event entertainment category. Where
So what are you doing with the studios now? Are you only
don't
using
know.
that for... Oh, you're on.
we're not running studios at all.
Oh, wow.
We've stopped entirely.
That's
right?
amazing.
And that mind shift happened again thanks to Ibrahim from BNI.
Yes, Ibrahim
So we-
Mohammed.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Amazing.
So we've-
Ibrahim Mohammed happens to be my business coach as well. So I've been with him from 2019 to 2021. He's literally helped me set up my business from, rock bottom. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I keep saying this, I advocate this so much that, you should have a business coach when you start your business. A lot of us get them when we're done with making a lot of the mistakes and wasting so much time.
True.
And so, we get them.
True.
Now, coming to another... Okay, before I get to my next question. One business not doing so well, you've burnt your hands. Indeed, dance was great, but then during COVID,
Yep.
you're not doing good. At that time, starting something else, weren't you scared of what the future would hold? Like, what if things never pick up? What if this also doesn't pick up, and then you're left with this? Like, did you think that, okay, you know what? Listen, I'm already in a dearth. Let me not invest more and do something else. Let me just wait for times to get okay, and then let's just continue with this itself. इसको stable करते हैं और बाद में कहीं और चले जाएंगे.
I don't remember thinking that way. Positive attitude, I think it's in the blood by now. So I was pretty sure that things will come back to normal. And also I think what really motivated me was dance was really doing well pre-COVID, right? So in COVID, when we were not recovering and we were making losses, we were just not used to seeing that, right?
Correct.
And I felt like I had to do something. I just couldn't sit there and say, great, we'll keep making
Holding
losses
on.
till
Yes.
time changes,
Yes.
And again, with Zoho, I think that passion and that, your decision making gets skewed when you're very passionate about something. I was very passionate about Zoho. So maybe I wasn't thinking right. Maybe I was thinking right. I still don't know. But I was quite confident that yaar, Zoho to chalega hi chalega, There's no doubt about it. It's a subscription-based model. And it's revenue for life. That's the route you want to take. You want to go on subscription based businesses. And I was very confident. So there was not a single element of doubt in it. Yes, of course, it was difficult to gather the courage to put the money in.
Sure.
But yeah, I think once you're so passionate about something, you feel it will always work.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Coming to the third thing you're most passionate about, that's BNI. When did you think that, you know what, listen, let me just go and buy 5 chapters and create my own region and take this up? And considering you're so early on in your career, you got dance in early 2010s, like 13, etc. Then you got Zopreneurs in 2020. And literally, I think within 2 years' time, you had BNI New Dubai?
23
3 years.
Yeah, 23. Yeah,
Like-
but 2.5, 3 years.
Like,
Yeah.
my goodness.
Okay.
You're like purchasing one business after another every 2-3 years. You're like, okay, ye kharid lo. Wow.
That just sounds very nice. That's not how it works. So no, I did not think that I should go and just get these chapters and get the region. That's a very stringent process, actually. I was the president in Rising Phoenix.
Yes.
It was my last meeting as the president. Vijay came in and we just, it was then said, hey, please share your experience about the meeting. And he shared the experience. And then he looked at me and said, Satyen, let's meet after this and talk about your next step in BNI. And I had no clue what he was referring to. And in my head, I was like, okay, DNA ambassador.
Maximum, yeah, DC
the
बनाएंगे,
DC
ambassador बनाएंगे, हाँ जी.
Right, so I was looking and he said that and I was like, sure. And then the meeting got over and then we had a conversation. I said, Vijay, I would love to have a conversation with you and just tell me what's happening.
Sure.
And he said, okay, let's catch up. And then we caught up separately and he said, this is the opportunity over here. It's called BNI New Dubai. And you can also start another region. And at that time, East was open, South was open, stuff like that.
Right.
So I had a conversation with him. The whole due diligence took us 9 months. The whole process took us 9 months.
So what is a due diligence? Like you checking out whether BNI is worth investing in, or
No,
him
no,
checking
no.
out whether you are worth it?
No, for me, BNI was
You knew. Like,
no-brainer, right?
Yes,
No-brainer.
no-brainer, yes.
Yeah. So for them, and it's a global organization. They have their
Right.
structures and mechanisms and interviews and stuff like that. So it took a while. It really took a while
Wow.
till that happened. But I knew from day one that BNI is going to work. I mean, there's no question.
But I
about
believe
that.
it's your largest investment till date.
Yes, 100%.
Yes.
100%. Because other two started from scratch, right?
Correct.
It's
This
easier.
is something that you're acquiring.
Yes.
It's already built.
So I was quite sure. And in BNI, when you spend, I was a member for 8 years.
Yes.
Right? I'm in my 10th year right now in BNI. When you spend so much time, you create this group of supporters, family members, well-wishers, whatever you want to call them, And you know that they're always going to be by your side. So you talk to a couple of people and they're like, go for it. And you take the plunge. We took it up in Jan 2023, last year, around 170 members. As of today, it's been 18, 19 months. We've crossed the 300 member mark.
Lovely. Excellent.
Our goal is to try and hit 500 members. So we want to do 3x it. From 170 into 3 is 510. We want to 3x it in 2 years. We've almost touched the 2x mark. We have 4 months more, 5 months more to see what we can do. And we've gone from just 5 chapters to 7 running chapters and 3 core groups now. So that's like 10
Correct.
chapters in working. So it's been a phenomenal journey.
Indeed.
And the kind of love and support we've gotten from the community also has been great. Reem supporting us with all her energy, and she's always been a mentor to me.
Sure.
Right from when I became a member in Rising
In
Phoenix.
NRP, yes.
Yeah, till now. So I think we have the right people around us. And BNI was a no-brainer. I mean, what other business can give you the satisfaction of knowing that you're helping other people grow?
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
That your business is really making a difference in somebody else's life.
It's
So-
bringing food to someone's table. It's
100%.
perhaps giving somebody medicines. It's doing you're contributing to a very great cause.
Yeah, and I don't think we realize the impact BNI creates, because it's not just those 300
Totally.
members.
Yes.
It's those 300 members, their families.
Yes.
Then it's their employees.
Networks. Yes.
It's their employees' families.
Yes.
It's their supplies that they can afford to pay
Yes.
because they're getting
Yes.
business.
Yes.
The impact is unimaginable,
Large.
right? It's huge. So
Yes.
yeah, that's how BNI is running, and I feel blessed to have that opportunity once again.
So, running 3 businesses obviously would not be easy. I'm not going to say it's a cake pie. And the thing is, you're someone who's really known for automating a lot of stuff, for delegating and literally training people and going things up. What's it like? How does your week look like? एक average schedule types के
Average week?
Average week.
Average week 4 to 5 times BNI in the mornings.
So you go and visit your chapters,
I
or
go and
what's
visit
it
the
like?
chapters.
Okay.
I'm also a DC for a chapter energizer. So I
Yes.
visit a couple of chapters. I conduct a lot of info sessions. And then, of course, you have trainings and you have the LT forums and all. So 4 to 5 days could be BNI things. On average, in a week, if it's season time, you could end up at 2 socials. If it's not season, probably 1 social a week or once in 2 weeks.
So you attend the chapter socials as well?
I do my best to.
Okay.
I do my best to,
That
right?
is nice.
And then, of course, you're back in meetings and
Correct.
trainings and all that stuff. Right?
Correct,
So that's one aspect of it. Zopreneurs, I spend my time actively also in Zopreneurs, more on strategy and growth. We have a large team now, so touch wood, they take care of everything else.
Sure.
Dance, very minimal time. We've been around for 12 years now. We have a team member called Nisha, who's been with us for 11 years.
Yes.
We have Nikita, who's been with us for 8 years now.
Yes.
So again, they take care of a lot of stuff, and I'm very minimally involved. And especially now during summers, there's very limited work with dance as well. So I think my calendar is packed between these three businesses, but I try and make a conscious effort, and I have my PA who helps me in this, where I try and make a conscious effort to spend more time in revenue generating and revenue impacting activities, and very little time in non-revenue or operational activities. And I think that's what
Revenue
helps us
generating
grow.
activities would rather be sales or strategy.
Sales strategy, growth, meetings,
Yeah.
referral partners, stuff like that.
How much sales do you do?
In BNI, none.
Yes.
In BNI, none. In dance, none. In Zopreneurs, 25%.
25%.
25%.
But everything else is all about strategy, growth, and stuff. I mean, you're blessed with a good team. Touch wood.
Yes, yes.
Especially when in New Dubai, you have a nice set of dynamic, driven individuals
Absolutely.
who are there.
Absolutely. When we took on the region, we had some 4 DNA members. We had 5 chapters, and Bijay was supporting a chapter who's not again a part of New Dubai. We had Kunal supporting a chapter who's again part of Central.
Correct.
So we literally had some 4 DNA team members who belonged to New Dubai,
Correct.
who were supporting New Dubai chapter. Then we had
Yes.
help from other regions.
Yes.
Now we have about 20 of us, and all from New Dubai, and yeah. So it's been phenomenal. I
Yeah.
think what's gotten me here is the vision to want to run the business on autopilot, which comes with a lot of clarity in terms of your core values, clarity in terms of your organization chart, clarity in terms of your KPIs for every role holders, your strategy, your target audience. And also there have been other coaches throughout my journey who've helped me. I've spent a couple of years with Munir. That's been phenomenal. I am currently coaching with Dhiren. That's been phenomenal. So I think a lot of clarity and a lot of empowerment to the team, where even they know what the vision is and they know that they have the authority to act upon these things. So yeah, it takes time, but I think clarity is what we need.
That is true. See, a clear mind can focus, a clear mind can take you a lot of places. Satyen, in your journey so far, apart from not joining BNI early, any other decision you think you're regretting, or you could have wished and gone and undone in the past?
Wow. I think with dance, it took me a while to understand how to run a business, and I'm not gonna call it a regret, but just the lack of knowing that because you're good in something does not mean you're good in running that business of something. Which means just because I'm a great dancer / choreographer or trainer does not mean I'm great at running a business
that's selling
of
dance.
dancing and training. Because when you run that business, it's no more about just the activity. It's about marketing, finance, payroll, operations, people management, negotiation,
Sab
and
kuch.
everything else,
under the
right?
sun, yes.
So I think that's something I didn't realize. I do kind of wish, not regret, but wish that had I realized I hadn't prepared myself earlier. Because for the first few years of dance, I purely believed that if I am dancing well and I'm training well and choreographing well, we will succeed. And that is not true by any means. That's probably a very small portion of the entire pie. I'm upset about the fact that I didn't learn this earlier. I didn't know that earlier. And now when it comes to Zopreneurs, from day one itself, I'm not a software guy. I don't code, right? But if you have that vision and you know that I'm going to run that business of implementing or automating softwares, I'm not going to implement or automate them myself. I didn't have that with dance. And I think that's something I do kind of feel unhappy about, that had I known that earlier and learned earlier, we would be in a whole different league altogether by now.
But I think the biggest advantage that you had is that you started a business very early on in life, whereas a lot of people started very late. So at least you learned in time. You learned, implemented, changed, adapted, gotten more stuff. So I think that's great.
Yeah, of course. So everything adds value, right? I didn't learn it there earlier. That's why I knew from day one how does Zopreneurs need to work, and day one how does BNI need to work. So yes, 100%. It adds value.
I've also heard from someone that you have a vision to retire by 40.
Who are these people? Who are these people giving all this information?
Just these random people. You know, when we sit on socials and then we like Satyen was. So chup sunta rehte hain. So yes, how true is that?
100% true.
And how close are you to that? Like you think that a
So-
day will come when you'll retire of this, like, listen, 40, I'm done.
I'm 38. I
You
have
2 more years.
I have 1.5 year left, right? uh, the whole idea of retirement is basically not having to do anything and choosing to do what I want to do, right?
Right.
So I might still end up coming to BNI chapters and do trainings and X and Y, but the whole idea is not having to do it, right?
Right. Right.
Some months it is tied to a passive income goal as well, right?
Sure.
And there are some months where I feel that I'm just about 50% of where I should have been or where I want to be by now. And there are some months where I feel like I can retire today. This month has really gone well. This quarter has really gone well. If it continues this way, I can.
Totally.
So I think it's like, any business doesn't go straight up. It goes this way, this way, this way.
Yes.
So if you had to ask me on average, where am I? I would say I'm quite on track.
Lovely.
I'm quite on track, and I think by that I'm 40 next year, December, I will be in a position to just take a backseat and take it easy.
Do what you like.
There are some months where I feel like I'm already there. There are some months where I feel like I'm really far away.
Sure.
That's fluctuating. But just to put things in context, we've done so much automation and structure everywhere that last year when I did not have BNI, I was out of the country for 150 days.
Wow.
And it was a super profitable year and things were phenomenal on all fronts. So there are those processes in place that do help me take out. Even this year, for example, I'm traveling every month till December. Every month for at least about 8 to 10 days.
Wow.
And I'm going to be longer in Hawaii. And then I have a brother's wedding coming up. So there are those structures in place that does allow you to just step back whenever you want.
Indeed.
The longest I've been away from work without even touching my laptop has been 45 days.
Wow. And you still managed.
And it's still running. And those, in fact, this was 2022, one of the most profitable years, in fact.
Touch wood. Very nice.
Yeah, it got lesser last year because BNI came along and it takes time.
Sure.
But I
Yes.
think it's getting back to the same place.
course.
So yeah, that is the goal. We are on track and yeah, it should happen soon.
Satyen, it was a wonderful conversation. I think we touched on so many different aspects, from failures to success to learnings and so on. You're a powerhouse, and you're like full of knowledge and wisdom as well. And one thing that I feel is when you get really at the top, you're the ED and you're running so many chapters and so on. There's this thing that a certain level of pride comes in, with whatever wealth or whatever name, etc. you amass. And it's good to know that, that's not the case. You're always approachable. You're like a one message away. I think that makes you different from the rest, and that adds that extra value where people can connect with you a lot better.
Thank you. I think when you're in BNI, you very rarely feel like you're there because there's always so many people ahead of you and bigger than you. And there's so many people that you look up to and get inspiration from. So yeah, I think that happens. So thank you so much for considering me worthy of this podcast, and I really had a great time with you.
Amazing. Thank you so much for everybody who's watched our podcast. I would sincerely request you to go and check out Satyen on Instagram, follow him, and even on LinkedIn. He's an amazing person to even be associated with. Zopreneurs, dance, BNI, New Dubai, whatever you please. If you like him, you get in touch with him. He's definitely a very likable personality and someone that could really help you take the next plunge in your life and towards growth. Until I see you guys again with another episode, wishing you good luck and stay safe. Thank you.